Coming at you live from DNHQ in beautiful South Pasadena, California, this is the Blue Heaven Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whatever you call yourself, you're now home with Jim Beam and Dodgers Nation. Please do drink responsibly because we got some Dodger baseball to talk about. I am Clint. You can find me as Real FRG on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the threads. Still threadless is DMac_LA, Doug McCain. How you doing, D-Wack?
Mr. Clint Pasillas, this is my favorite thing to do all week. Talk Dodger baseball with you. So much excitement this time of year. You got trades. Dodgers back in first place, taking 2 out of 3 against the Mets. Got a big series against the Orioles. I'm excited. I'm fired up.
Hey, the Orioles are good. W the F. That's just
Orioles are good, man.
You know, like 4 years ago, Clint would be losing his mind. I'll tell you that much right now. Guys, on today's show, we got to talk about some things we liked, some things we didn't like. One thing we didn't like, Clayton Kershaw going to be out for longer. So I guess, once again, I should take blame on that, but we'll get more into that in a bit. Hey, a trade is in the cards because them Cardinals could be looking to clean house, and they got a number of people that I'd love to see in Dodger blue. And we have some other things to talk about, a whole bunch of a little bit of Shohei Ohtani talk, because this guy talked to noted Angels insider and expert,
my man,
Sam Blum over at The Athletics. You guys haven't seen the videos already up on the YouTube, but do check it out when you get a chance. Subscribe while you're on YouTube, youtube.com/DodgerNationTV. Hit the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. It really helps out our videos. It helps us keep doing this stuff if you click on the videos and like them and watch all the way through the best you can. You know, just or just scrub through and then go to the end, and then YouTube thinks you watched the whole thing, and then we get all the excitement. We're also in audio. Just search Blue Heaven Podcast on all of your platforms. And the last thing I'll tell you about before we get into hot Dodger talk, as we call it, is DJ producer Cody's over there on the board and ready to fire off. But guys, if you haven't downloaded it yet, go check out the Dodgers Nation app. It is in your app store. Doug is literally on it right now. He's so addicted to the app, he won't even give me the time of day. He's like, I need to be on the app. Is he doing it right? Did he do the LA the right way?
I've been pretty good, yeah. It's the left side.
Yeah, there's the schedule. All of our articles there, all of our content. Of course, right now we're going to be going very heavy, very hard in the paint on trade deadline, on rumors, and all that kind of stuff. So do check that out, DodgersNation.com, or go on the app. And it's a good spot to keep up with your Dodgers. So, Doug, Dodgers came back from the All-Star break, won 2 of 3 against the Mets. And Sunday's game, not the most exciting. Bats were a little cold. 4 hits. Max Scherzer, future Dodger, shoved. Well, what are the couple things you liked? What are some takeaways from that series, and just things you generally like about where this team is at just over 2 weeks until the trade deadline?
Yeah, it was a big series win. You go into New York, you take those first 2, but just how they won. What happened during those wins? Julio Urias having a really nice start. We're going to talk about that. The bullpen really is the first thing I want to focus on, though. The Dodgers bullpen, they quietly got their ish together. They go out there, together since that home sweep against the San Francisco Giants. They've been fantastic in this series against the Mets. They didn't allow a run in 11 1/3 innings. Of course, you had the Manfred man there late with Robertson. I didn't like that at bat there. I mean, throwing the fastballs, you go with the changeup. I think you should have stayed up on that. But still, I mean, that's one that got away. Felt bad about that one. But still, I just really liked the way this bullpen competed, the way they went on there. And I think Ferguson was a guy that really stood out to me. I mean, he had runners on the corners there.
BDF right there, man. That was an insane that was a series or season a highlight moment for this kid, man. Career highlight moment to get out of that to walk that tightrope and escape that.
Absolutely. The back-to-back punch-outs there in the Saturday game really led to that win, in my opinion. Then, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Brazier, my guy, of course. He gets those final 3 outs.
He's been big on Brazier.
I've been big on Brazier with the B-I-G. But, yeah, from June 20th to now, last 20 games. So all this talk about the Dodgers bullpen. I've said my piece about this bullpen, of course. But since June 20th, the home sweep against the Giants, they've been the best bullpen in baseball. Not the National League, the best bullpen in baseball. 2.04 ERA, that's first. 2.56 FIP. Opponents hitting 200. Even the strikeout rate, that's something that I always kind of criticize. I'm very critical of this bullpen's ability to do just that. A 26.3% K percentage, that's fifth. A 2.1 F WAR. So for all this talk about how bad the Dodgers bullpen is, and they were bad for a long stretch, and they do still need to go out there and add an arm. I want to see a Chris Martin type. I want to see a big package of relievers along with the starting pitcher, along with a possible position player, but still they have gotten a lot more consistency. You see them working both sides of the plate. You're seeing more swing and miss. You're seeing them come up in big situations.
Yeah.
So definitely a big key to why the Dodgers are back in first place is that bullpen.
Yeah, one guy I've really liked, very, very small sample size since he came back. When he did come back, it was almost an emergency situation, but Alex Vesia looks back. He looks all the way back.
Where's J-Kid 23? Where's J-Kid 23? When he came back, I promised he would be good, and he said that was a bad take, D-Mac.
Which time?
J-Kid 23.
No, which time though? Like, did you promise? No, this version of Vesia, he's hitting his spots. He's got that. He's got the strut back. He's got the tenacity. He looks like he does not want to go eat at the Chipotle in Oklahoma City anymore. He likes grubbing down at Sugarfish in here in Los Angeles. So love seeing that from that kid. And you could also look at the stabilizing factor of Brazier did bring another veteran into this bullpen. Around that time, they started getting good. They knew Dan Hudson was coming back, and I think even if it was just for that short amount of time, the Daniel Hudson addition just it gave them a different mindset, and it got everybody settled into their roles and settling into a role. Again, we talked about it last week. The fact that Evan Phillips is pretty much your ninth inning guy. He's not. Everybody knows their role now. And that has helped solidify everybody in a mental capacity for their jobs and doing really good. So yeah. I agree. Bullpen, love it right now. Yeah. Right now, I agree. Good. Need more. One or two guys. What do you think?
I think at least one. I think the fact that you have some stability, especially with the lefties and Ferguson. Vesia, to me, has been the bright spot. In the month of July, a 0 ERA. He's allowed no runs in 4 1/3 innings. And what I say when he was brought back and everyone was calling Alex Vesia Messi, I said, what I say? After the All-Star break, he is a different pitcher. Before the All-Star break last year, he was bad. I mean, he wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. A 3.14 ERA. After the All-Star break last year, a 1.05 ERA, a 32.3 strikeout rate. He was phenomenal in the last 25 1/3 innings. So hopefully that's the Alex Vesia we get, a guy who was playing the edges, hitting his spots, avoiding the heart of the plate. And I think you're starting to see the momentum in that direction.
The big thing, I think the change for him was that 3-pitch K of Shohei. That changed the season for him.
Exactly. I mean, you strike out Shohei Ohtani on the road in a big spot. It's almost like, hey, he needed to get up a competition, see himself, hey, in a big moment, in a big spot. He's a guy who really operates on confidence. He really wears emotions. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's a guy who can go on a big run, has that fastball, has the late light that plays up. So, yeah, the more of these guys that you look like you can trust, the less guys you have to go out there and get. But I still think the more the merrier when it comes to starting pitching, when it comes to the relievers. And, yeah, these guys really are auditioning for their roles down the stretch. And if they aren't able to perform, we know that there's some options.
Cody, what are people saying about Alex Vesia? We didn't expect us to turn into a whole Alex Vesia show, but bullpen, just general bullpen thoughts too. What's the pulse of the nation?
Guys, there's actually no talk about the bullpen in the chat. A lot of people are actually talking about trade candidates. Sorry,
that makes sense.
And a lot of people are talking about, I guess some people wanted Josiah Gray back, and some people are saying that they hope that the people that want Josiah Gray get flat tires. Wow. A lot of people are talking about Shohei Ohtani. A lot of people
guest
talking
on the
about
network, by the way.
Lucas Giolito, Nolan Arenado, who we'll get into a little bit later.
Just give the fans what they want. All trade talk. Y'all
oh,
speaking my
here we
language.
Go. Finally, Michael Carrillo said the bullpen is still bad.
All right.
So
thoughts on that, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality is if you look at some of the metrics and where they're trending, I think they are due to kind of come back to life a little bit. I don't think that all the pieces are in place, especially with the Daniel Hudson injury. Yeah. You can say, okay, everything's fine. They're fine.
Shelby Miller's still out.
Shelby Miller on the 60-day IL. Daniel Hudson, I'm not going to bank on that. So, yeah, look, this team always needed to go with a more experienced reliever, a guy they can trust. We got some names we're going to talk about in a second here. But it's still good to see that during this stretch run that you've seen better performances out of them. And I think, yeah, I mean, look, you need to win games throughout the entire season. And they're really, it's almost an ability to just kind of put it together right now and get to that trade deadline and see what we have after that.
Yeah, still not a championship bullpen. I'll agree to that. I would not be comfortable running with that unit out into October.
Yeah,
but
they are what they are.
Another thing we like, Julio back.
I'm ready to call him the Urias once again. He's earned the title back. Julio Urias He was fantastic. I think you're seeing the command. You're seeing him avoid the heart of the plate. He's just, the spin's better. I mean, everything across the board with Julio Urias. He looks like he's locked in. I love what Dave Roberts said after the game, that the vacation is over, and we know how much is at stake. Not just another season helping his team win a game, but also how many millions are on the table for him and what that means for him. But if you look at his start against the Mets, he struck out 7, second straight start going 6 innings, and I thought that was a great job they did to bounce back early on. We saw Nimmo. It looked like it was a home run. They reviewed it. It clearly hit the orange stripe there on the padding. What did he do? Gets the back-to-back strikeouts. Doesn't allow a hit for the rest of the game.
That was impressive.
He was phenomenal. He's allowed 2 runs his last 14 innings of work. So you take out that first inning. I know it's a little bit of cherry picking, but you take out that first inning in his first start back against the Royals. He has looked like an ace. I still feel strongly, as I did a few weeks ago, that he's going to be the Dodgers' best pitcher down the stretch, especially with the injury to Clayton Kershaw. This is a guy who has historically the best ERA in the second half of any pitcher with a minimum of 200 innings. That's because when the stakes are raised and it's time to bring your best stuff, Julio Urias does just that. So
yeah, this is a team, and mash that thumbs up button, guys, if you think that Julio is back. I still need to see 1 or 2 more starts. Maybe 1 to fully believe it. But I like Dave Roberts' messaging about it, is that Julio understands, especially with Kershaw out, like he has seen Clayton Kershaw do that all over his career, be the guy all throughout his career, be the guy that steps up when the team needs him most. And this is the time that this Dodgers team needs Julio Urias most, because nobody else in that staff is doing much of anything right now. Like, yeah, Gonsolin, he had a decent start. It was getting hit pretty hard, but had a lot of good luck on his side. Bobby Miller, I think, is becoming a bit more of a question right now. We'll see what happens with Emmett Sheehan in this next start, but let's look forward again real soon. We're going to talk about some trades, and it's becoming painfully apparent 1, maybe 2 guys need to be added to the starting rotation, but we'll talk more about 100%. That in a little bit. What you got for me, Cody?
We have a super chat.
Oh! Special day here at DNHQ. Thank you. But you having trouble there, Chief? Kimosabi?
Oh, sorry. There
it is.
Michael Carrillo said, Clint, you ready to bet Barnes isn't on the postseason roster?
Yo.
Oh, I'll bet. I bet. How much you want to bet on it? I am. There's no way in hell this team, Dave Roberts, does not have Austin Barnes around on this team. It's just, I can't see it. Plus, you really want Hunter Fiducia as your guy to be that great bat off of the bench for a maybe role in the postseason. I think I've said it a number of times on this show over the years that the Dodgers do not win the World Series in 20 if it was not for Austin Barnes. He took over that role as the starting catcher, leading the pitching staff to greatness, and he just means too much to this team. They call him the captain. They call him the captain for a reason. But do we
Good
talk
segue.
Barnes? I mean, this is a segue. We had one more thing we liked.
We can go back to that if you want.
We'll get back to that. Let's talk Austin Barnes, man. Yeah, the reality is he is the worst hitter in baseball statistically.
You know, every facts of the fight, a 102 batting average, a -7 weighted runs created plus. So 100 is league average. He's not even 0. He's -7 below league average. It almost feels like it. I mean, the Dodgers, I feel like they need to seriously reassess that backup catcher role. And I know that, yes, he is the heart of the team. Yes, he is the guy they call the captain. But also, look, this is a team that you can go out there and find an Austin Waynes. You can go out there and find an experienced catcher that can do a little better at the plate. So, yeah, I mean, you can't have a guy that's not a big league caliber hitter. I mean, the guy that doesn't look like he's putting together big league at bats. And it's not a situation where you think, oh, he's going through a slump and he's going to break out of it at some point. We're going to start to see that. This is who he is, man. I mean, he's might as well go up there without a bat.
We've been talking for how long ago was 2017? That long since he had his great years, first year with the team, like as a full-time sort of almost starter. He was never going to be that guy that hit 270. He's not a hitter, but he's also a guy that right now is starting 1 game a week. Maybe that is a problem, though. Maybe they do need somebody better, somebody that actually is a major league hitter, as you might want to call him, because on the flip side, they need Will Smith in that lineup, and you're starting to maybe see the effects of Willie playing a little too much.
That's a great point.
because the average is down, the slug is down. He's looking maybe a little bit slower. And long-time Dodger fans, you've seen this. Think of how many great Paul LaDuca first halves, we saw. Piazza, you didn't see it as much. Steroids. And, Piazza, LaDuca, steroids. But, you get to other guys. Grandal always had really bad second halves. Russ Martin, he was very young when he first came up, but he had those big time first halves, and then they tail off. Catching is a hard damn job. You are squatting all day. Your legs ain't gonna be happy. So maybe that is something there, but I don't envision a world where Andrew Friedman pulls Austin Barnes into his office and says, we're going to put you on the IL, but we want you to still do the rest of your job. Again, it's a 1 day a week job. Maybe that is a problem. What we got anything over there? You look like you might have had something.
Yeah, we actually do have a lot of comments in here. Once you guys start talking about it, Chris Allegro said Barnes will be there if Kersh has a say. Michael Carrillo says Barnes offers nothing. Anthony Keene said you need a backup catcher. Who else? Cartaya. Craig Osterberg said Barnes 101 average. I'd rather have my sister. Some people were talking about, you guys just talked about it, how he only starts once a week. They're saying that's not really a big issue in their opinion. They say fix other stuff and then kind of get back to it eventually.
Yeah, if we're doing that, I would rather see a lineup, again, that doesn't have Miguel Vargas, Miguel Rojas, whoever else. The bad line. There's a few too many people at the back end of the order, of the batting lineup, batting order, the words I'm trying to put out, that when Austin's in there just really doesn't. Max Muncy we could throw in there because the average isn't pretty. All those guys plus Barnesy, that is not an intimidating lineup.
Yeah, and that's really always the case. Whenever a team loses, the guy that's really struggling, they want to dance on their grave. They want to say it's all his fault. But I think it's a really good point, the fact that he does play once a week. And I'll also add, too, you have the designated hitter role. It's not like you have the pitcher plus Austin Barnes, even though he hits worse than most pitchers at this stage of his career. And I'm not saying give him away. Like his bobblehead night's coming up. I'm not saying give him away like he's a bobblehead or anything like that. But what we talked about on our show last week was, on the postgame shows, maybe a phantom IL, maybe something where he doesn't play for the rest of the season if he can't get it together. But, look, the reality is...
It's not going to happen.
If you look at Will Smith, Will Smith is definitely struggling. Will Smith is hitting 200 in July with a 589 OPS. It was good to see him get that double on Saturday. But for the course of a season, to keep Will Smith fresh later in the year, you got the DH spot that's being held down by JD Martinez. You want to be reinforced at all positions. And that's one thing this Dodgers always tends to have. One of the reasons why they win, one of the reasons why they're one of the best organizations is you have depth at the margins. And right now, the backup catcher spot, hey, the Dodgers, they came this year saying he's one of the best backup catchers in the league. Right now, he's really one of the worst.
Statistically, offensively, he is the worst. He's not one of. He is the
But
worst. But the intangibles, that does mean something to this club. Could he do those, working from home, essentially? Yeah. He could.
This is the thing. I always think, like, intangibles, it's like, to me, a team leader, it's like if you're not performing, it's like, let's say the team isn't hitting and Austin Barnes is going to rally the troops about not hitting. They're going to be like, what? Like, why should we listen to you about hitting?
It's also hard for them for him to have that voice for sure. What do you think actually happens?
No, he stays. It's Austin Barnes. I think that this team, their offense, the way that top to bottom, as far as how potent they are with their MVP caliber players, and I think they're going to go possibly get another bat. I don't think
has Austin dropped one of these at all this season?
I haven't seen him do a freight train. I don't
know if he's spread any cheeks. I don't even know if he's done one of these, but
it's been a rough year. But at the end of the day, like you said, disrupting team chemistry this late in the game, that could be a risk for Andrew Friedman. I also think too, still under contract, so
it's worth noting that Freddie Freeman, that has been in a number of incredible, clubs and squads and clubhouses in his career. I've said it in recent weeks, but he says this is like the best, if one of the best, if not the best clubhouses in terms of like the team being together that he's ever been around. And I do think, Austin's not the primary reason for that, but to bring in like another rookie, somebody mentioned, the Cartaya thing. Cartaya's hitting $190 at AA, so he's not.
It's too late at this point to bring someone up and expect them, especially the catcher position.
And to learn the team.
You have to go to a veteran route.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
Moving on, let's get back to the other thing we liked. You can't not like Marcus Lynn Betts, MLB 50, looking like MVP 2023.
Hey. That's why I said on the show a couple weeks ago. I said
broke 'em.
objects in rear appear close than they appear with Ronald Acuna Jr. I think that he hasn't caught him yet. There's no doubt about that. Ronald Acuna Jr. has put himself in a great position to win that MVP. But I thought it was very interesting what Dave Roberts said after the game, where he said he could feel, he knows Mookie well enough to know that he's going for that MVP trophy. And to be a multi-time MVP, that takes you to a different stratosphere. But he's been phenomenal of late. He's hitting 400 in his last 18 games. He reached base 9 times in 3 games against the Metropolitans, a 4-hit game on Saturday. He tied the game that RBI single on Sunday. So he's been phenomenal. If you look at their numbers side by side, Acuna still has him. Acuna's hitting 333. Mookie's hitting 286. If you look at the weighted runs created plus, though, it's a good measure of overall offensive productivity. Acuna Jr. at 169 giggity and 162 for Mookie Betts. So 7 back. If you look at their F-WAR, Acuna Jr. at 5.3, Mookie at 4.6. So if Acuna goes on a little slump and Mookie continues this tear, also the narrative, I think, really favors Mookie in that people are talking about, hell, this is a guy who was a Gold Glove outfielder coming in to play the infield spot, making shortstop look easy. Yeah. Also, the Dodgers could have a great record, but of course, the Braves really are the class of the National League. So I'm just looking for an exciting MVP race down the stretch.
For Mookie, other history on the side, he'd be the second player ever to win MVP in both leagues. On the other hand, the fact that you have Acuna challenging for a 40-80 season, that's a never been done situation. And Mookie, I mean, both would have times to win an MVP again in their future, but it's gonna be a battle. Hey, they've had a co-MVP before, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be soft as hell. But
it's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty much impossible, really. I mean, at that point, but I think one person's going to run away with it. But yeah, I like what you brought up about Frank Robinson. Of course, he won it twice in the '60s, once with the Orioles, once with the Reds. Yeah. I think that history and how rare that is, the fact that Mookie winning one in 2018 with the Red Sox, winning one with the Dodgers, I think that would be massive. But yeah, I mean, look. This is a player, Mookie Betts, who we're getting the best version of Mookie Betts right now. I mean, we're getting a power-hitting guy that can play multiple positions around the diamond. I mean, it's just a fantastic thing to watch, and hopefully continues this streak. Is not peaking too early and save some of these hits for the postseason.
Batting average keeps on slowly climbing up to 300.
Yeah,
Is it just under 290 now?
Yep.
So that's pretty dang impressive. Cody,
Mookie living his Betts life.
What you got for me? Almost. Oh! I missed the super chat? I'm going to dance for that.
Yes, sir.
I feel like I have to dance even more nerdy just to make sure my hands are above the little graphic. It's like I'm not one of those people that throws my hands in the Aya like I don't Kaya. I'm just saying. I'd be more down here, grooving. Anyways.
Shout out to Nick Morris.
Thank you, Nick.
It's safe to say Burns and Adames off the table with Milwaukee now winning. Don't trade the farm. Let's plan for Ohtani and health next year.
Let's just say the Brewers are in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, and on top of that, too, the Brewers management has already said that they told Corbin Burns straight up they're not going to trade him. So that was last week. So, yeah, he's not going to be traded.
They also told him, like, hey, you're a bad pitcher. We want to give you less money.
Yeah, they also had the beef in arbitration. That's a good point.
Where's the beef? What you got?
No, so some more people talking about Austin Barnes. They were just saying, somebody said, let's give Austin Barnes some ringworm cream.
Some ring? Okay.
Hey, look, one of two things. He's either going to hit or he's going to get caught. So...
And we need the dub, so we need Austin Barnes.
This is true.
Slug,
hey, Doug.
Yes, sir.
Doug, I want you to know. So I watch a show online on YouTube. If you guys have ever watched it, thumbs up. There's this one guy there who believes that if teams would like to win, they should hit with power. Yeah. Or perhaps one would say that if you want the dub, you got to slug.
Yeah.
So I don't know who that guy is.
I don't know, but find it on the internet. Yeah, I would just search for that anyways.
And a lot of people are saying, are talking about Mookie Betts being the MVP. Ethan Frosty said, I think he will win. Anthony Keene said Mookie will win the MVP. You heard it here first. And there's other people fighting back saying Mookie won't win it. So,
Cody, what is your take? What do you think? Who do you think is going to win the National League Most Valuable Player in 2023?
I bet you it's going to be Ronald Acuna. They don't like to give like the Dodgers or like unless he's like.
It's more so that they really like. It feels like the league or the voters really like new people winning the award.
Exactly. Unless you're Shohei Ohtani or like Aaron Judge, it's kind of like they're gonna like want a new face over there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one would assume Mookie should be in that kind of conversation with Judge and Shohei.
Absolutely, I agree.
I mean, Mookie's Shohei's favorite player.
I agree, 100%.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, they all have different things going for him. I mean, Mookie's playing 3 positions. Acuna Jr. has the stolen bases, like you said. You're really establishing another superstar. Anytime you give someone the MVP award, you're always introduced as an MVP. So there's that. But, yeah, I just think it would require a little bit of a slump for Acuna Jr. and Mookie to go on another tear, really have another high peak and just kind of sustain this. It's entirely possible. I don't understand why I had Braves fans going after me saying that this thing is over, that it's going to Mookie, that's going to Ronald Acuna Jr. But as Noah's shaking his booty in front of us,
bro just said shaking his booty.
his moneymaker.
One final note: Freddie Freeman also does take some votes away from Mookie Betts.
That is true.
That's kind of a problem because he's going to be a top 5 MVP candidate. Cody, I see dancing. Oh, I'm gonna dance down here.
Duck dance.
The people can't see you, Douglas. Oh, there it is. Man.
Joseph Gallardi said, if we get Ohtani, what happens to JD? Dodgers in a tough position. Let's bulk up our pitching staff and trade Muncy. And then shout out to our guy, Raul Gonzalez, $20 said, go.
Guys, thank
you.
you.
Swollen Sausage, $1.99. So welcome back, Swollen Sausage. Verlander or Scherzer, if you could get him cheap. So let's cycle back. Joseph Gallardi said, if we get Ohtani, what happens to JD? Dodgers in a tough position. Let's bulk up our pitching staff and trade Muncy. Do you guys want to go with that first?
I will just say the Dodgers are not going to get Shohei Ohtani.
I would say it's unlikely. I definitely think it's unlikely for sure. I would never say never, especially in Major League Baseball. I think there's a better chance today that they're trading Ohtani, and not only it's going to be the Dodgers, but think about the Dodgers, and we'll talk about Ohtani a little bit, is not a lot of teams have the prospect capital to pull off a trade like that. As far as what they would do with JD Martinez, yeah, I mean...
I'll fix it. Have him catch. He's the new backup catcher. I fixed all of our problems.
Because JD likes to slug. So.
Yeah. If you have a backup catcher that can slug, man, I should really just go back to being FRGM.
Yeah,
just
do
as
it.
a GM.
Get him behind the dish.
I run a tight ship.
Look, I mean, the fact that he has played at least some left field this season, I'm not going to say he's going to go from just dingers to just defense or anything like that, but I will say the fact that he has played. I think if you're the Dodgers,
really?
I mean, think about this: if you have if you had a closed clubhouse meeting saying we have a chance to get Shohei Ohtani, I think everyone in that clubhouse would be on board with it if it meant JD Martinez going and playing a different position. But still, I mean, that would really hurt the Dodgers defensively. You still have Chris Taylor and Peralta. I mean, it definitely would present some problems. I am like you. I agree with every word you said, except for the fact that there is a small chance if he gets traded, Dodgers will make that call and see what it takes just because they know that that'll increase their chance of signing him long term. I'm not predicting that the Dodgers do trade him or even that the Angels ultimately move. I still think that's a big if right now. But JD Martinez, he's still providing some of the best production out of that DH spot, so you don't want to risk losing that. I mean, you're talking about a guy 129 weighted runs created plus, and he's on a 1-year, $10 million deal. He'll be gone after the season most likely. So it's a good problem to have, I will say that.
It is.
And then real quick, before we move on, Verlander or Scherzer, if you could get him cheap. Swollen Sausage asked that. Either one of you guys.
I mean, they both have their positives. They both have their postseason moxie.
Moxie.
I like Scherzer more than Verlander. Plus, Doug's good friend, Ben Verlander. I don't want to see him become a Dodger fan.
Or this will just prove he's a Dodger hater. For once, he won't post anything Dodger related, even if his brother's in L.A. But, yeah, the thing about, I mean...
Kate Upton in the suites, though.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be bad. Wouldn't be terrible. But I think for me, Justin Verlander has a vested option.
Hey, Cody, remember, girls take away from watching 1996 NBA Finals clips on YouTube at 3 in the morning.
1963 Rams versus Ravens or something.
No, but look, I mean,
classic Craven.
I have seen this Max Scherzer take circulate on other shows in recent days, and we talked about it on this show a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about the idea of Max Scherzer coming back. And yeah, I mean, look, if it's between Scherzer and Verlander, I mean, Scherzer, he's going to opt into that $43 million deal no matter what, whereas Verlander, he's got the $43 million deal plus the vested option for the following season. So you'd be tied to that. I think Scherzer has the capability of being more of a plug and play. You wouldn't have the adjustment period with Verlander coming to LA for the first time, getting booed, or just kind of having the weird vibes of the Astros thing. Whereas Scherzer, he's been here, he's done that. And also, too, Max Scherzer, he waived that no trade clause once for the Dodgers. Maybe he does it again, but that's a lot of money as well.
And then Boomer Assassin, now to get to the Kershaw stuff, these are the days of the Dodgers' lives with with Kershaw as Erica Kane. Is that like Days of Our Lives? Is that a
I think
reference?
that was something like that, yeah.
If back to back, Nate said if it was October, Kershaw would be pitching right now.
Yeah.
And for the most part, everyone there wasn't too much comments about Clayton Kershaw.
No.
Yeah, I mean, to the last point, I mean, that's the most important thing, that he's in his top form come postseason and that he can be in a great spot. So once he is back, he stays back. But yeah, I mean, what really makes me scratch my head is him saying how he was totally fine and he gets the cortisone shots. Like, no, I mean, there has been definitely these levels to this shoulder injury. And I think, yeah, I mean, if you are Andrew Friedman, you got to get on that phone. You got to get another starting pitcher. And I think we're at the point now where last season, what happened? Walker Buehler around the same time. Dustin May around the same time. So, yeah, I mean, you really have to have some concern. I think that if you're this team, any of these little injuries start creeping up here, if you really want to be all in on this season, you have to almost look at it as, hey, we're not going to completely rely on that. And if you can pitch, if you can't perform well, then fine. But we're not going to bank on 100%. Maybe 90%, but not 100%.
And of course, we have a super chat.
Man, it's a special day. We say that a lot, but this one is actually a special day.
This one is actually special because I'm going to make it the Hornito shot taker comment.
I knew I should bring it close to me.
Show. Grumpy 45 Dino said, Padres imploding like a submarine makes me smile. Hashtag curse Shaw. Well, I'll say this. You know, RIP to the people on the submarine. But the Padres imploding, that is great. The Padres imploding.
We're nothing.
Not the submarine
We're
part.
nothing if not topical on this show. One of the things I've really enjoyed on the interweb machine over the last, I guess it's really like 30 hours, is all the people bringing up the that's what's in, guys. They're like the Padres are 45 and 55 since this happened or something this absurd. So that is hilarious. That is the ultimate curse, and it just shows you the power of hubris. It's real.
It is 100%. Yeah, I love those guys, man. We got to get them on the show.
They're what is it? I think they're like 6
Man,
and 9.
he's gonna lose.
I think they're like
Clayton's
6 and 9 to the
cruise.
Phillies now since that moment.
What's in.
So that is what is out in San Diego. All right, let's move on, guys. Let's talk about some trade talk because 'tis about the trade season, and apparently they're laying all their cards on the table. They have a lot of assets they want to move, or they can move, or they need to move. Doug, let's talk potential Dodgers, Cardinals, blockbuster deals. And I'll note this guy is going to have a deep dive on this topic coming up. We're on those cameras. There it is. Wait, he's gonna have a deep dive on this topic coming up on the YouTube channel. So do subscribe and watch Doug just do what he does best. Let it eat, let it riff. He's gonna have a good time. But and DodgersNation.com. There you go. Thank you, Noah. Join the movement. Blockbuster deal. Cardinals, Dodgers. What up?
Yeah, look, the Dodgers and the Cardinals, they haven't done too many deals, haven't done a deal since 2018, but the Cardinals, they are sellers. The Dodgers, they have nine of the top 100 prospects. They have the prospect capital to get any deal done, and really, I think you have to start with Nolan Arenado. Now, Nolan Arenado, of course, this guy is probably the best defensive third baseman of all time, 6-time Platinum Glove Award winner, 10-time Gold Glove Award winner. Now, I know you're very high on the idea of maybe going after Nolan Arenado, and I got some pros and cons on it, but hey, well, it seems like you're all in on it.
Bring him home. Bring him home. Listen, one of the dumbest things Nolan Arenado ever did in his career was agreeing to waive that opt-out because he's like, oh, they traded for me. I'd feel bad if I opted out. Dude, go get your money. Come home, win a damn title. Yeah, the Cardinals weren't supposed to be this bad. Apparently, Yachty was the glue to that team, and Wilson Contreras doesn't know anything about baseball, and it's just a bad team. They probably need a better manager. They probably should have hired Bruce Bochy over there, actually get themselves a winning manager. But it's a bad team, and he made a mistake. He's always wanted to be a Dodger. He grew up a Dodger fan, and he should be a Dodger. And there's an opportunity to right double wrongs here. And maybe the Cardinals will be nice enough to be like, we need to cut bait, throw a little money, and do right by this guy. Who, they only have like 3 years left of Goldie as well. Give him Bush, give him Vargas while you're at it too. You got third baseman there. I don't care. Give me Nolan Arenado. That is a difference maker for a team like the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways you can look at it. I mean, if you look at it from that standpoint, as far as giving him Miguel Vargas, giving him Michael Bush, what did you not name? You didn't name Diego Cartaya or Bobby Miller. I mean, a part of that deal would be the Dodgers saying, we are going to absorb the rest of this $109 million on his deal. So that's kind of part of the reason why hopefully you wouldn't have to part ways with a ton of your elite guys, right? And also, look, the thing about Nolan Arenado, defensively, we know he'd be a massive upgrade over Max Muncy defensively.
Love you,
There's
Max,
no
but-
question about that. Also, if you want to go the veteran route, you could still keep Max Muncy's bound the field by playing him at second base, a position that even though he's not great, he's better there than he is at third base, especially this season. So you look at it from that standpoint, yes, it makes sense. As far as defensively, I think that a lot of people, especially when you've been as good for as long as Nolan Arenado has, you probably just assume, oh, this guy is defensively as good as he's ever been, right? But this year, his defensive metrics, they actually have dipped. There has been a decline, and this is a guy that you're going to be getting, and you're going to experience some decline on that deal. That is what you're going to be getting. And in year 1, year 2, sure, if they win a World Series with this nucleus of Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts, Will Smith, then it does make sense.
I was going to say, what does Doug McCain say all the time? You only have Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts in their prime right now. You have one more half of a season with Clayton Kershaw and Julio Urias guaranteed on your roster. You go in now and you win it. I've seen you preaching that online too. It's not about Nolan, but you go all in on winning this year. It's kind of an all-in move.
Well, see, that's the thing. So that's where I have a little bit of an issue. Like I said, it's not like I'm saying, oh, I would be furious if they made this move. If they signed Carlos Correa last year, I would have been furious because I didn't think he was going to be a good player throughout the duration of that contract. But if you look at, okay, you're talking about the difference of what they get Trey Turner for, what they get Xander Bogaerts for, some of those massive deals. Look what the Dodgers got Freddie Freeman for, right? $162 million. If you look at it like that, saying we're getting Nolan Arenado for a few years, 3 years at $109 million, then you feel okay about that. Now, if you remember when they originally made that deal, like you said, when they waived that no trade clause, the Rockies, they paid $51 million in that deal. They've already paid that off. They paid their debts. Now, could you get the Cardinals to pay that money? It doesn't seem like they're a franchise that would be willing to pay Arenado just to get out of that deal, so I don't anticipate that. So I think they purely would have to absorb that contract and say, hey, this is going to be our third baseman for the next 3 years, and he's going to be a guy that can take us to the promised land. But the question I ask myself is he the missing puzzle piece for a World Series team this year? Last time I checked, he's not a starting pitcher. Can Nolan Arenado pitch? Can he go out there in relief? Can he go out there and get big outs on the mound? I think, of course, the answer is no. He does still rake. I mean, a 127 weighted runs created plus, 20 home runs this year, hitting 280. I have no doubts that he would help this team at the plate offensively. They could use another right-handed bat. But who's the name that we talked about a couple weeks ago? And that was Jeimer Candelario, right? Jeimer Candelario of the Washington Nationals. If you look at his numbers this year, a 118 weighted runs created plus. That's only slightly below Nolan Arenado. But here's the difference. He is on an expiring contract. He is going to be a free agency, and you get that productivity. You improve your defense at third base, but also you have all the financial flexibility to go after Shohei Ohtani. Now, the Dodgers, they've got more money than God. They print money. We know what they do as far as revenue. But do you really think you could take on a guy who's going to be making $35 million next year and conceivably go out there and have a lineup that has Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Nolan Arenado, and Shohei Ohtani? That's a damn near all-star team. I just don't think that that's part of the Dodgers' plan. I think they want to go out there and they want to push all their chips in for the 2023 Dodgers, but it's not about the money this year. They're willing to pay the tax, even if it's the Cohen tax. It's just the years after that, and that's where it starts to add up. And that's why I just don't see it happening.
I mean, there's a few different routes I could go with it. The Ohtani thing, everybody in baseball, every pundit, everybody thinks the Dodgers are in on him. Yeah, they're going to kick the tires, but didn't Jose Mota talk to you about? Our good friend of the show, Jose Mota. Didn't he mention you got to factor in regression for Shohei as well? And if you're talking about $600 million for your ace and your cleanup hitter regressing at the same time, that is concerning for this year. And the Nolan factor, which Yeah, I'm a realist. Nolan would not be traded by the Cardinals. But what is the ultimate adage in sports and postseason is defense wins championships. And even if Nolan Arenado is a bit down on defense this year, it's still a market upgrade over Max Muncy at third base, who that's concerning for me heading into a World Series. Max Muncy, again, love this dude. Just a great human being, is a good ball player who's not having the best of times this year. But I do not feel that is a championship third baseman that the Dodgers have right now. Not that Nolan's won anything. The only thing he's won is a raspberry on the chin sliding into the dirt to score a winning run in the wild card a number of years ago now. But this is that's a dude, man. Nolan Arenado's a dude, and you let Max move around. You find ways to move some pieces around. Does that fix the pitching problem? No, I agree. I just think bigger picture problem is pitching, but that is a potential difference maker. And hey, that's one that alleviates that problem with Austin Barnes in a lineup, because
that's a good point. Yeah.
You're burying the problem with adding more good player at the top.
But let's say you make that trade and he doesn't get back to where he was defensively. It's like you trading for Steph Curry and he can't shoot threes anymore, right? I mean, defensively, he has definitely slipped. I mean, all the numbers prove that that's the case. The sprint speed's even down.
It's a bad team.
It's a bad team. I mean, yeah. I mean, look. I
unmotivated players, man.
And we trade them for Call back in the day.
Was that a trade?
Or
I'm pretty sure they signed him.
They signed him. Yeah.
But anyways,
but that was.
I miss young for Rafi, man. 05 Rafi was, or 06 Rafi was a beast. Anyway.
So yeah, I mean, look, for me, I wouldn't be furious if they made that deal, but that's not my number.
Welcome to Doug and Clint Just Talk. It's the new show.
But yeah, I would
say
on
WB.
That, to me, I disagree with you on the kicking the tires on Shohei Ohtani. I think that this has been the plan for a long time. There's probably PowerPoints ready and hype videos ready and presentations.
Sheets,
I mean, come on now. This team is going to go all in on Shohei Ohtani. If you bring in Nolan Arenado, if you don't think he can take you over the top, I just don't think that's the case. I mean, if look, in the postseason, it's a different ballgame. Do you think he's going to be a guy that's going to hit over 300 in the postseason? I don't think so, right? So if he's not the guy that you think can do that, and you don't have the pitching, it's not going to matter if they score 5, 6, 7 runs. If they give him 8 or 9 runs, they don't have the depth from a starting pitcher standpoint. So I just don't think he's the guy. And I think at some point, this organization, you have to get younger instead of older.
That's a really good point.
And I just think that you're bringing in guys that are under contract. If he was on a 1-year deal, I would say, hey, if he's on a 1 or 2 year deal, I'd say fine. But I know I'm getting some decline towards the end of that contract.
To your point, I mean, the Cardinals are a pretty damn old team.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you're seeing them have this very unexpectedly bad year. Cody, what's the pulse of the crowd right now? I imagine there's excitement.
Nando390 said D-Mac got beef with Arenado.
No beef.
You got beef?
Yeah,
I'm
beef
just
with
trying to
Where's
look
the
at,
beef?
Look, I want Shohei Ohtani. I want the 1,000-pound white whale elephant in the room player, and that is it right now for the Dodgers. And until you have an answer on that, you don't want to do anything that could limit that. Imagine if you push your trade chips in, you gave some top prospects for Arenado. He's just not the guy that's going to take this team over the top. Without starting pitching, to me, that's option B or C. That's like if you're going out there and you're shopping for, you want to add an infinity pool to your mansion, but your leak is roofing, right? The roof isn't even fixed yet in this house.
It's roofing, as we say.
The roof is leaking in your house. And I just don't think that until you address starting pitching, you can go for the luxury items like a Nolan Arenado. I mean, this guy, if he's a car, is a great car, but it's like a certified pre-owned car that has like 40 or 50,000 miles on it. It's great, but it's running out of warranty pretty soon.
Man, that's really low mileage in this era. But okay, Max.
Kelton said Max Muncy, DeLuca, Bobby Miller for Nolan Arenado. Boomer Assassin said I am definitely on board for Arenado. Frank Garcia, he had a chance to come here and he went to St. Louis instead, like Clint mentioned.
No. Dick Montfort, Rocky's owner, said he would not trade with the Dodgers. He was not going to trade him in division. And he actually took a worse deal to send him to the Cardinals. So they had the option of, or did not have the option of coming to LA.
Boomer Assassin also mentioned Flaherty and Arenado for Muncy, Vargas, Stone, and Grove. Interesting.
Yeah, when we start getting into these wild, like almost
crazy trade,
almost 2021 trade deadline. You know, the fact that the Dodgers got Scherzer and Trey Turner, like I feel we don't accept the fact that that's absurd often enough. because it is pretty absurd that they got two top 35 players in baseball in one trade, if not better than that at the time.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, if you want to convince me on this, then it's got to
be a plus.
It has to be an all-in deal.
It's not. It's this in my scenario or my
Jordan
world.
Hicks.
It's not that. I don't know about the Flaherty.
Jordan Montgomery, I would have Jordan Montgomery over Jack Flaherty every single day of the week.
Yeah, there are definitely options. So.
That was what I was about to say. Some people were mentioning some other names on the Cardinals, like you guys just mentioned, Jordan Montgomery and Jordan Hicks, as some guys that the Dodgers, they would rather have the Dodgers go after.
Yeah, get me. I mean, I don't think they're going to trade Flaherty, but give me Flaherty and Arenado over Lucas Giolito and Tim. I forgot how to play baseball. Anderson.
See, I would debate you on, can I get maybe not Giolito and Tim Anderson, but can I get go really crazy? Part ways, I mean, even if to include some of the top prospects, and you get a Giolito and a Cease and a Middleton, possibly a reliever and 2 starting pitchers, and then Giolito.
He's Doug's on crack. Doug is on crack. Hey, listen, crack is whack, Doug.
These moves are very possible when you have the Dodgers farm system. I mean, think about this. Next season, only guy who's guaranteed to be back is Walker Buehler is going to be back, but Kershaw could be gone. Urias could be gone. They could not get Julio Urias. They could definitely use some help in front of that rotation. But, yeah, as far as Flaherty, I think we'll talk about that one next. I want to get your thoughts on Flaherty because he's another guy like Lucas Giolito, has the hometown connection. Of course, he went to Harvard Westlake. They had that legendary rotation with Giolito, with Fried, and Flaherty. The only issue I have with Flaherty is he's really dropped off since he had that 2019 season when the strikeout rate was up. He's not a guy that misses a ton of bats. He's a guy that does post, though, but fantastic numbers, he is not that. He is a middle-of-your-rotation number 3 starter that can be solid, that can eat innings. He's not a guy you say, okay, it's game 1 or 2, let's debate if he's going to be in that game. He isn't that guy. I mean, 18 games this year, 4.29 ERA, 22.2 strikeout rate, walk rate close to 12. So, look, he's been solid in July, 1.45 ERA, but I'm definitely not all in on Flaherty. I would have Giolito over Flaherty if I had to pick between the two.
Yeah, 100%. I would like my white whale in this trade deadline is Lucas Giolito, and I think everything really lines up to make that happen. But I still want Nolan Arenado instead, or at least more. I don't know about more, but I would say it's Giolito or Nolan and Flaherty, and try to get a Hicks or a Montgomery or something, like, because they need arm. They need not just arms, or not just arm. They need arms.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you start there, but the good thing is that there are multiple players that could help this team. They're on the same team, and we know that if Andrew Friedman always complains about the prices this time of year, but the way to get value out of that is to get multiple players in return. That's really the only way that you can get some bang for your buck, and both these teams both have those options. But I think if I had to pick between the two, Jordan Montgomery is in the same spot. Yes, he left the game early with a hamstring injury. Thankfully, that's nothing to do with his arm, but this is a guy that's a triple-digit flamethrower. Talking about a guy that all the peripherals with the X slug and the barrel rate and the hard hit rate, he definitely is one of the best in the league at. Walk rate's not great. The chase rate and the fastball spin aren't, but he's also on an expiring deal. He could help this team. Jordan Hicks as well, if you want to go the Paul DeJong route, if you want to go for a position player. But I just kind of like the White Sox players as a whole, because I think you don't have the contracts you have to deal with long term. The one you would have if he becomes available in Dylan Cease under a couple more years of team control, yes, you might have to even give up a Diego Cartaya or some big-time prospects with that. But also, Clint, at some point, are the Dodgers overrating their prospects? And do you also sell them on a high note? I think there's a lot of that. To expect that 9 of those top 100 prospects to all be legitimate big leaguers, when we know that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
I think at some point, Freeman, you have to do that, especially when we look at the roster crunch after this year.
Yeah, I think they've shown the willingness to do that, the willingness to part with some people that are kind of maybes. Really, the guys they got from the Reds with Downs and Gray. I mean, Gray became an all-star. He took some time to kind of to cook, but now he's one of the better. He's the best pitcher on the Nationals. I don't know. I still don't know if he would be a 2 or a 3 or 4 on this Dodgers ideal Dodger staff. But the ultimate trade partner really is the White Sox for this team, because they have pitching, and I agree that's what this team needs is pitching. However, the premise of the segment was Cardinals. And I want Nolan Arenado, and I want fries with that, and I want Jordan Hicks. I don't even know if I want Jordan Hicks, man. He's like,
Tommy Edman. I mean, there are other guys you could just throw in there.
What do you want? That
Tyler
fool
O'Neill.
O'Neill.
It's like at the grocery store and you're waiting, you're just throwing a bubble gum at M&M's. You know,
dude,
these are the guys you can get in there.
That dude's got a dumper on him too. Respectfully. But again, stay tuned to Dodgers Nation TV, which is here on the YouTube. He's going to talk a whole lot more about Cardinals trades coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So subscribe. We talking Ohtani because we get out of here right now. I hit that 58-minute mark I was talking about. What do you want to do, producer Cody? It's up to you because we got a lot of Ohtani talk, but also Ohtani's going to be the talk of the town for a while. So we got a whole Thursday to talk about Shohei.
That works for me.
Before we get to Shohei or before the end of the show, we do have something special.
Oh.
Super chat.
Very
Gets
exciting.
us silent. Angel Villalobos said, at this point, send Barnes to the minor leagues, a.k.a. the San Diego Padres.
Ooh, ouch.
Ooh.
Ouch. Ouch.
That's a bird.
Well, he could finally get the ringworm cream somebody was mentioning.
This
That's
is
a good
true. He
point.
would be close to
Yeah.
Nando, wouldn't
the
he?
Costa Bowl.
Guys, we are going to leave you hanging on Shohei Ohtani talk. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about that. We will be getting into that on Thursday, including the awful idea of him being a San Francisco Giant that Eric Karros threw out over the weekend. But guys, thank you for hanging out with
My
us.
biggest fear.
Find us on the internet, DodgersNation.com. Find us on the internet, InsideTheDodgers.com. Subscribe to Blue Heaven. We are a podcast. You can hear all this again. You can hear all the other stuff. If you missed Doug's interview with Sam Bloom, there's more Shohei Ohtani talk on there. Subscribe to YouTube.com/DodgersNationTV. Hit the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, all that kind of stuff. I am Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram. That is Doug McCain on Twitter and Instagram. That's Cody. We got more. We got another one. Is that what's
We
going
have
on?
another super
But my
chat.
58-minute mark.
Oh, sorry, wrong one.
Oh, this guy.
McLovin323 LA said, "Why is Will Smith live? He has a game in 5 minutes."
Hey, I got to get to Baltimore.
Okay, Max.
Shout out to you, McLovin.
I could use
Appreciate-
a better backup catcher. I'm just saying.
Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the questions very much. Guys, we cannot tell
I think
you
my
how
first
much
All-Star team.
we appreciate you for the super chats. It really does. It puts the booze on the table and food and carrots in Doug's bellies. Thank you for hanging out
Yes,
with us. We will talk
sir.
Ohtani on Thursday. Bye.